So this is how you build your business online. Let's talk about your domain name. A domain is basically an address for your website. So think about it like a house. I always use the analogy of the house. So the domain is basically the address, and a lot of times that ends up being permanent. It's sometimes hard to revert back to a different one, especially the longer you have that domain and the more established it is over time. You print out business cards with this domain, it's kind of permanent. Somebody holds that business card forever. The domain is the same thing as a URL. So like I said, there's a few things you want to think about before you purchase that domain. There's a lot of variables that go into it. You don't want a domain, obviously, that's super long. Some people have those really long domain names, like Steve and Jim's bathroom remodeling in Wisconsin.com. And it's just huge. It's ridiculous. No one will ever be able to remember that. It's exhausting to just even think about how that works. So the length of it should be very short. For example, our company is called Direct Allied Agency, but our domain name is directallied.com. Something else you want to think about is keywords in that domain name. Do you want to put a keyword in it? A lot of times that works, especially if it's in your company name. Like one of our clients' names is Reeves Bathroom Remodeling. So their domain name is reevesremodeling.com. Now we've got a keyword in there. It's good for when Google is looking at your website. It's just one of those little tricks that is still actually working in 2024. So you can use that. Now keep in mind also, what you're going to be doing with your domain name is adding an email address to it. So for example, your name at mydomain.com. Mine is kevin@directallied.com. It needs to roll off the tongue smoothly. You need to be able to say that in conversation. Again, it goes on your business card. It's what people remember about you is your email address. You don't want it to be something super long, and especially when you're setting up that email, you don't want it to be your full name most of the time. First name, short domain name.com, call it a day. People remember it. It's very convenient. So with your domain, you want to keep the structure of it very clean. Let's say you do tub remodeling. What you want to do is you want to have your domain name Steve's Remodeling /tubremodeling.com, something like that, or even Steve's Remodeling /tubs.com. And keep it very simple. You want the structure of your domain and your URL to be very consistent and very easy to navigate. That goes for users to navigate, and it's very good for SEO purposes for when Google is looking at your website. A lot of people ask me about subdomains. Subdomains are still very popular for a lot of different reasons. We could cover that topic in depth on another video where it's a little bit longer, but basically you can use a subdomain when it's needed, but a lot of times it interrupts the structure of your domain. So for me personally, I try to avoid the subdomains. So that would be blank.yourdomain.com. So it would be like clients.directallied.com. I try to avoid that stuff. So where do you buy a domain? There are literally hundreds of places you can go to buy a domain. Typically it's between $15 and $20 a year. You could go to any of the domain registrars out there. There's a lot of good ones. We like Name Silo, we like Pork Bun. We try to stay away from those big corporations. I'm not gonna mention any names. Now there's a lot of different domain, they call it TLD. What that stands for, I don't know anyways. But it's called a TLD. It's like a .gov, .org, .art. There's so many different really nice creative ones now. And a lot of people ask me, should I get one of those really boutique, those really fashionable domain names? And it's really up to you. For SEO purposes, we definitely always try to stick to .com, .org, .net. Those are the three main. And the price of those boutique extensions, those TLDs, they range greatly. I mean, sometimes you can grab one for like $2 a year. Sometimes you can grab one for $50 a year. It depends on how popular it is, and it depends on what it is in general. So look into those. There is no such thing as a free domain that I know of. I don't think you can get any free domains. You definitely have to purchase it. And what a lot of people don't know is you actually have to register the domain. So when you sign up to buy the domain, they're gonna ask for your name, usually your address, your agent name, stuff like that. It's a registered address basically on the internet.